Delal,
Hi, how are you?
how are you? Thank you so much for doing the conversating with your life.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yours looks so pretty. Love the hair.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so because I know your time is precious, I'm gonna jump right in. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. So, Delal, how would you introduce yourself to somebody who's unaware of you?
Yeah, I would say, well, my name is Delal Elsheikh. Oh, sorry, did you hear that? My little notification. My name is Delal Elsheikh. I'm a Sudanese American automotive designer, born and raised in New Jersey, but now based out of San Francisco, California.
Amazing. Now, okay, before I ask my next question, why do you think I know someone that is, for me personally, biracial? I'm a proud American, but I definitely identify my ethnic roots. I always say I am Spanish Venezuelan and my mom is black. Why do you feel that it's so important to keep your Sunnis roots? Like you introduce yourself as I'm a Sunnis American. Why do you think that's so important?
I think because there's not so many of us, so it's really important for me to be visible always. Maybe this is from growing up. I feel like growing up, I'd meet people and they wouldn't know where I was from, and when I told them, they wouldn't know what Sudan is. So I think keeping it in the conversation for me is always important. Also, my background has given me so much. My community has supported me so much, so I feel like making sure that that's always in the conversation is my little way of, I don't know, just including that always.
Giving back. I love that. Even though, how would they not know Alec Weck? I think she's probably the most famous Sudanese British.
Well, she's South Sudanese.
Okay, but
Yeah, but at the time, when she was like really coming up, it was all one country.
yeah,
So
exactly. So in my defense, it still
yeah,
stands.
yeah, but she is South Sudanese. Yeah,
Okay, but you could have given them a magazine and been
I
like, I don't know
know.
where you don't know where this is from. Everyone knows her. So you're a designer at Rivian, which is very cool. I know I've seen them a lot when I'm driving. So why do you love designing? And did you always know this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, funny enough, I did always know that this is what I wanted to do. Maybe not necessarily cars, but I was always drawing as a kid. I think most children grow up drawing and then there's a point where they kind of just stop, where they feel like I'm not good enough at this. I'm not going to keep going. But I just never stopped. I loved drawing. I always had a sketchbook on me. I always wanted to invent new things when I was a kid. Do you remember Microsoft Paint? I was like on Microsoft Paint.
No, you know why? Because I wasn't good at it. Like that's why I remember it, but like I wasn't good at it.
Okay, I thought you meant you don't remember it, like you
No,
the
I
application.
remember it. I'm just was not good at it. So if I'm not good at something, I just throw it from my memory. I'm like, it's almost like
I
etch a sketches. Like I knew the etch a sketch, but
yeah,
these kids were drawing like
yeah.
Picasso's. I could barely draw a line, so I was like, no, forget etch a sketch.
Yeah. And I think that happens for a lot of kids. They're like, oh, I'm not good at drawing. I'm going to stop drawing, but I just never stopped. And so I was on Microsoft Paint as a kid, which I don't think is even an app that exists anymore, like making floor plans for future homes and like coming up with like new vehicle designs, like
You
just
did it at like what age?
like elementary school.
What?
Like just me and that little computer mouse against the world. Like
Oh
just
my God. You just
nonsense.
think of home designs and be like, one
Yeah.
day I'm gonna grow up here, or like, was it more like
Oh,
this is where Barbie will live?
no, I was like, I am building I remember I was building a compound, truly, for
Okay.
both sides of my family. I was like, I'm flying my grandparents in. We are all living here together. And we had like one computer in the house at that time, so I was truly at my dad's desk, cranking away.
And what was he like, hey, kid, I gotta do some work.
I do have to actually feed us, so if you don't mind. Yeah.
I love that too. And then before I continue with the question, I love how you said like a compound for my family. Do you find it like being Sunnis American and growing up in New Jersey, did you find that type of family dynamic, explaining that to your friends kind of odd? Like I feel like because like our cultures are very similar. Like Latin culture, we love our families, everybody is invited over, you stay, it's not a big deal, but very American to just like as soon as you turn 18, sometimes sooner, it's like bye, I'll see you maybe twice a year. Did like
Yeah.
kind of get that type of understanding growing up? Was that like a hard concept to relate to your friends?
I think what was really hard was I also grew up in like a Muslim household where my
Yeah.
parents were a lot more strict than maybe the parents of my friends. So that was a hard thing to explain to people. Like I was not allowed to go to a
Oh,
sleepover.
me neither. But we're
And
not Muslim. I
yeah,
say we're Muslim adjacent,
yeah,
but like my parents are Catholic, but they like have some hardcore like Muslim
yeah.
sleepovers. There's
I
like a time limit, 7:30
yeah,
bed. Yeah.
yeah. But I also grew up like it was just my nuclear family here in the US. So me, my parents, and my two siblings, like we didn't have extended family in the US at the time.
Okay.
So I didn't grow up with that in America where like grandparents, aunts and uncles, everyone's like in the same house. When I'd go home to Sudan, that was definitely the case. We are all staying in the same place together.
Mm.
So it wasn't like we were doing like massive family events every month or anything. So like that wasn't too much to explain. But I did growing up and like finding out that people were turning 18 and then all of a sudden paying rent to their parents. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, foreign concept, right? I'd be like, I'd rather die than pay for
That
anything my
just
parents.
like blew my mind that parents were asking
Yeah.
kids to do that. I mean, I understand that like some families are just on hard times and like kids are working from when they're really young. That's also a very foreign concept to me. Like working, I think in New Jersey you can get your permit to work at the age of 14.
Seriously?
Yeah, you can like at least when I was growing up, you can go
Okay.
to your middle school like whatever office and get your papers that say yes, I'm legally allowed to have a job. Yeah. And so like the idea of like being 14 like going to work also very crazy to me.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, even now, I couldn't imagine doing it. I sometimes barely imagine, I'm like, gosh, I'm really adulting today. Some days
Yeah,
I have it, I'm like, God, I'm really adulting. Like,
yeah,
can I
yeah.
just go back? Yeah. Okay, so what do you see as the future of cars, as in like the body style and everything like that? Especially now with like all the new regulations and rules. One minute, EV was the focal point, and now so many automakers are saying, no, 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 we're gonna go back to traditional gas. So what do you see as happening?
I think we're in an era where automakers are going to start being a lot less risk averse styling wise. Like as much as I am not personally a fan of the way the Cybertruck looks, I love that it exists because it means that we can make these wild concepts and put them out into the world and people are actually going to buy them. Like people will put money behind this kind of thing. So I think we need to not be so scared that consumers are not going to want it. I think people are tired of cars looking
That's
same old, same old. I think that's why Rivian was so powerful when it first came on the market to see this car with these like very kind eyes is what they call them, those
Yeah, in the
lights.
back.
So, yeah, like we're so used to these work trucks, these work vehicles being like super aggressive, super masculine, but to have something that is not only capable and powerful, but also friendly and soft and approachable, I think is like it was a risk at the time, but it really paid off.
Yeah. No, what's your favorite part about working for Rivian? Because that's definitely what I call a hair flip moment. I mean, you're young, and to even be a designer for is
You
such
are
a
young.
it's true.
Ever since I turned 30, I'm like, oh,
I am older than you, and please, 30 is nothing.
I look very young. So when you told
Thank
me that you
you.
didn't know what Microsoft Paint was, I was like,
Yeah, no,
what?
I knew it. I just sucked. No, 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 no. I'm older than you, but no, I just was like, I threw it out my mind because there's a lot of things I threw out my mind during those times, like hopscotch, couldn't do that well. Etch a
You
sketch.
couldn't, whoa, you couldn't play hopscotch?
No, I
It's
wasn't.
it's like 2 feet, 1 foot, 2 feet.
Yeah, I don't know, something about it, and I don't know why. I just couldn't do it.
Dang.
Yeah, but I could fence, but I couldn't do hopscotch.
You can fence, but you couldn't play hopscotch?
Correct.
That's crazy,
Isn't
actually.
that nuts? I know, because it's like way more like things going on with fencing, but
Yeah,
gosh, I would just like fall over or like put two and I'm like, you know what? I can't. This is not my area.
that's very funny.
But no, but yeah, I mean specific, but you're very young and like to work for a company that everybody knows. Like people can see a Rivian car. Does that like me?
Not everybody, sometimes, even here in San Francisco, I'll be like, oh, I work for Rivian. People will be like, what is that?
No way.
What do you mean?
Like I see the cars all the time. Maybe you just have to
Yeah,
come back down to LA more and then you'll see.
maybe. Yeah. But then they'll be like, oh, yeah, yeah, I know what that is. Like, I've seen those cars. But I'm like, how do you not know the name? That's crazy to me. My family also, like my extended family, I used to work at Mercedes-Benz,
Yeah.
and to the Sudanese family, that is
Yeah.
like creme de la creme. That is the top. You
Yes,
can,
everybody loves a Mercedes.
yes. And then when I went to Rivian, I remember my grandma being like, what?
Why would you do such a thing?
Mercedes. But no, I love working at Rivian. They are, to me, such a departure from like traditional OEM. Don't get me wrong, it's still a car company, but like I love their way of working. There's so much creativity. There's so much openness to new ideas. Not everybody I work with is a car person also, which is really nice because you get so much like fresh perspective. People are coming from all different types of backgrounds. So yeah, I'm really, really liking it. I'm feeling very fulfilled.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, so you're also an entrepreneur, which I love. You have two endeavors. You have Delal Design, which I have a keychain from, which I love, and Harakat. So why did you decide to launch these businesses? Because obviously, being a designer at a big car company is probably very time consuming. So why
Yeah.
did you decide to, create these two businesses?
Yeah. Well, Delal Design Lab is, I mean, it's in the name. It's like just an experiment for me. I found myself like working at these companies and not really having time for the thing that I loved to do, which is to create and to make stuff. And like I love cars, not just as a career, but just as a passion and a hobby. And I fell in love with the way that they look, and that's what I wanted to get back into. And so I was like, and I already have all of this art that I've made just for fun, my free time. Like I really wanted a platform where I could focus on that mainly. And then Harakat was something born between me and my two friends, Idris and Orchid. Idris runs Refresh Era or Refresh.era on Instagram. You might have seen it, which is all about car culture meets hip hop. It's a great page. Follow it. But we are all people from the Middle East, North African region. We're people who love cars. We spent many years in LA. Idris still lives there. I think Orchid ju very recently moved from LA. And there's so much car culture in LA.
Yeah.
And there's so much Middle Eastern and North African culture in LA, and they overlap, but there isn't really a space for them to overlap. And that Design Lab does this too, where I just wanted a place where I could share, like being Sudanese and being interested in cars. I think my best selling print is the Porsche print. It's the profile of the 911. It says Porsche in Arabic. So there's like a market for that. People want to see themselves reflected in their hobby. And Harakat, when we put on that show late April, we were so humbled by the turnout where people were immediately interested in participating, being vendors, selling, chai and desserts, but also just showing up and showing out and donating to the cause and wanting to see car culture in this new lens. And I think something great that it did too was like bring these two communities together that don't always interact. There were so many people who were from the diaspora who are not originally interested in cars, or they love cars, but they've just not found the places to be. I remember when I first moved to LA and I was like, I want to do car stuff. Like where's the car stuff?
I'll
And
be like, I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, and LA is one of these places where you just have to be in the know. Like you have to kind of find stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And God, it feels like it was forever ago, but it was just
No.
April. It was just last month. Like that's mind blowing. So what do you say to people who don't believe that you can do multiple things at once? I do think it's like more of like an ethnic trait more so, like where you can do multiple things. Like I always say my dad is an immigrant and he came even and all the things. I feel like it just gives you that extra drive. But what do you say to people that say that, no one can do multiple things at once?
Yeah, I think it's such a limiting belief that you can only do one thing at a time, or you should only do one thing, or you should just have some like stable job and stick to that. My parents are also immigrants. I always think about the fact that like my dad came to the US to go to grad school, and like had he not done that, had I lived a completely different life where he didn't bring my mom over and they didn't have kids here, like I could be growing up in Sudan like with very little economic potential, like very little opportunity to be creative and make money. And also like I could have been living through a war right now if they hadn't made the choices that they made. And those weren't easy choices. Those weren't just like let's get a visa and
Yeah.
like that's big drastic changes that you have to make. I think he's like the one in his family that traveled the furthest,
Oh my gosh, really?
like to move away from home and do that. Like it's very unique of him to do that, at least in our family.
Mhm.
And so like I'm not going to squander that someone took this major risk to start this family. Like I want my parents to see the fruits of that work, that labor that they put in. And also, I remember this, I had a professor once tell me this was in the context of like applying for and getting jobs, and it was the people much less talented and much less deserving than you are applying to these jobs and getting these jobs. So what's stopping you? Like an imposter syndrome?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
really,
like what is the worst that could happen if you just applied for the job? And I think I take that into everything that I do. Like, what is the worst that could happen if I started this brand?
yeah,
If I spent some time working on the thing that I love, if I like took time to sit down and really figured out what it is that I want from this life.
I love that. So what are your tips for a healthy mindset? Because obviously you have to have a healthy mindset to do, your I call it your corporate job, your self-expression job, and then your fun like culture with the cars.
Yeah.
So how do you have a healthy mindset?
Oh, that's a hard one. That is that's a really difficult one because I think it's like easy to say, make time for yourself and like prioritize wellness, but you have to have your bases covered first. The time that I was struggling the most in life was when I was graduating from grad school and I was so stressed about finding a job and I was so stressed about making sure like my graduate thesis looked good and was going to help me build this career. At that time, there is no amount of therapy or meditation or healthy eating that could have like helped me be in a healthy mindset. Um, I think it was the fact that I found a stable job that I could then go, okay, I can relax. Now we can focus on that other stuff. Now that I know that I can pay rent,
Yeah.
we can focus on prioritizing wellness. And today what I do is I make sure that I schedule time for the things that I love to do. So my work, my like 9 to 5 takes a lot of time from me, and then also the commute's going to take a lot of time from me and doing the things around the house and taking care of my dog and all of that, like all of my major responsibilities are going to take a lot of time for me. And if I don't s- like I'm obsessed with my Google Calendar. If I don't schedule time to go to the gym, to meal prep, to sit and have dinner, I might never get to that stuff because I might end up scrolling on my phone, which I
That's
do
true.
a
See,
lot.
I don't do the Google Calendars as much as I should. I write everything down. So I have like I'm old school. So like I'm gonna show you. Like it looks a little crazy, but like I have like you probably can't see it. Like my old school agenda
I
and
love that.
like all the stickers and all the things, and I have to write it down or I'll forget. And scheduling is like it's a must
I
because
love that.
they will go.
I move things around too much, so I wouldn't be able to, but I used to. I have so many journals. I've been journaling since 2013, which is when I graduated high school. So I've
Okay.
like kept a pretty significant log of my life since. And a lot of that includes like to-dos and things that I have to do. But recently I moved that over to digital because I things just changed too much. I kept like remaking lists. I'm a list maker. And
Yes,
I'll
I love
like
the crossing out. It's so
yeah, and I'll have to
therapeutic for me.
reprioritize. And it's just easier for me, at least when it's online, that I can just move things around very easily without wasting too much paper. Um, but yeah, just prioritizing and making time for yourself and making time for your friends. One problem that I have is like I'll be too tired because I've just worked a long day and I don't want to like go to dinner with my friends today. Oh, it's so far. I'm gonna have to take the train. I'm gonna cancel. But then I don't, and then I go, and it's best choice I made. I'm like, thank God I went.
Yeah, you just push yourself.
Yeah, this like reinvigorated me. I love connecting with people. So yeah, it's making time for those things that nourish you.
I love that. And you want to hear a funny story? So like when I was doing my thesis to get my MBA, I lost my paper. Like like my computer like died, crashed. I didn't save it. And so like when I charged it, it was gone. And I was like, I literally had like a minor meltdown. I was like, I'm not gonna graduate. I'm not gonna get my all this hard work. I'm not gonna get my I literally had a meltdown. And then I was like, well, either I'm gonna just like fail out or I'm gonna actually just like I rewrote it. I still like, but I literally had a meltdown. It was the worst.
You rewrote it? See,
But the thing is, but the thing is, I write everything down before I type it. So
Oh,
thankfully, like I did like most of my notes and like the planning of what the thesis was going to be, like all my backup, and I mean it looked crazy, but then I typed it and I made it make sense. So that was the hardest part. I had to make it make sense again, and then like changed some analysis and stuff like that. But it was it was horrific. Like it died, and I was like calling everyone. I was like, my life is over. I can't do it. Yeah.
okay. If I'm you, I'm calling up Best Buy Geek Squad, somebody.
See,
Somebody's
I
going
didn't
to
even think
go into
that.
this hard drive and find
See,
it.
I panicked and then I just shut down. Like I didn't even hit like it didn't even like register to me. I just was like melt like did you ever see Modern Family? The
No.
show? Okay, well, there's this one character, Cam, and he like anytime that something happens, he freaks out. He's like, "Oh my God." And like literally that's me, like running around like thinking like, "Oh my God," instead of like thinking of a solution.
Good for you though. Was it like the night before?
No, thankfully it was a week before, but I wanted to get it in early so I could say, "Oh my gosh, I'm
You're
done."
better than me because I'm writing the thesis the night before.
What? Oh no, no,
Yeah, or
no.
like finishing up. I love to procrastinate.
Oh no. See that I
Yeah.
would choke out. See, I
Yeah,
would definitely choke out.
that would happen to me. I'd be like, all right, we're shutting the laptop. I'll graduate next year. Like,
Oh no, no. Oh my gosh.
I'll.
I would have just been like, take me now. No, I couldn't. Um oh, before I ask, what type of dog do you have?
Oh, I have a Morkie. Let me see.
Stop.
Disco, come
That's so freaking cute.
here. Come on.
So freaking cute. I love dogs.
Get him. He just got a bath, but he's very shaggy looking.
Oh my gosh, he's
Look
beautiful.
at those. Look at these bangs. He
Oh my,
needs.
I love it. The bangs are banging. I love. Oh, he's so pretty. I have a Shih Tzu, but she's
Probably
even.
look similar.
Yeah, so I have a Shih Tzu. Her name's Fluffy, and I also have Beanie. But they're chilling. They're being good. Don't instruct them because then they'll bark and they'll never be quiet.
Are they siblings?
They are not. So Beanie's a Chorgi, so she's a
Oh.
Chihuahua Chorgi and just like lean and sounds like a Rottweiler. Fluffy is a Shih Tzu, and then I have Bentley, who's a Maltese, and he's the only boy, but he's like so wild and he's so
Oh,
cute.
cute. Yeah, Disco's insane.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a boy thing. I don't know. Like it's something about it. Like he just loves like he just runs everywhere. You're just like, okay.
Cute.
So why do you like so you also do like talks and like educational seminars and things like that. So like why did you start doing that and like why do you kind of like love empowering people?
Yeah, it's something that I kind of fell into. When I was at Ford, I was volunteering to do this stuff. Ford was really good about giving back to the community, especially in Detroit. And there's there's such a gap in like automotive design education when you're young. It's like not a thing that people even think that they can do. At least for me, like I did not get that kind of education when I was in elementary, middle, high school. Like I didn't know it was a real career.
Yeah.
And so I think there's so much opportunity to show little kids that this is a thing that you can absolutely do. Like to think about cars and mobility as a whole as like a creative endeavor that can also be your 9 to 5. I love being able to share that with students. And after Ford, I kind of fell into doing talks and seminars because I did the Hot Wheels show, and that had like a really big young audience.
Okay.
And and I love just talking to students, especially students in college, because I remember what it was like graduating and like being so anxious about finding a job and if I was ever like when I graduated in 2017 and I was struggling to find work, like I honestly thought I'm never going to find anything. Like I'm never going to find a job. I'm going to be living in my parents' house forever. But obviously turned that around. So, I like talking to students about what the future can look like.
I love that. What are three staples of clothing that make you feel your most confident?
Oh, this is a good question. I really love structured pieces. Like I love something with like really good strong lines. I just bought these barrel jeans.
No. Did you?
Stop.
Oh my
Oh
God, I
my God.
cannot get on the, and I love jeans, and I will try almost every style. I cannot do the barrel jeans. I can't.
I
I
think they're
can't.
so cute.
I
I can't do
can't.
a wide leg. I think they make me look like a box.
No, I love wide leg, and like the wider the better. Not like a bell bottom, but like I love
Oh,
wide,
yeah.
high-waisted, long, wide leg all the way down.
And I have a short torso, so we cannot do high-waisted. I need
Interesting.
them to be mid-rise
Okay.
or preferably low-rise.
Okay. I don't mind like either rise I can do. I don't really care about that. It's just that barrel. Like I feel like it's just I don't know. I no.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it like makes you look bow-legged, I feel like.
I don't know. I think they're really cute. I really like them.
Okay. Okay.
Um, what else? I love a good blazer.
Agree.
I
Very.
am not opposed to a shoulder pad in a blazer.
Love that too. Yep.
Do a shoulder pad. What else? I recently bought a tie.
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
I'm trying to wear a tie. I haven't worn it
Okay.
yet, but I just feel like
It's a very androgynous Yves Saint Laurent, like giving like 1980s hardcore Yves Saint Laurent, like the which is very like exaggerated shoulders, the skinny. Is it skinny? Like a skinny tie?
so I actually got two. I wouldn't call it skinny skinny. One of them is a Izzy Miyake. Am I saying that right?
I think Isaac Mizrahi, right? Isaac Mizrahi?
Mm-mm. No, no. I think it's a Japanese designer.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I like thrifted it here in Japantown. I wouldn't say it's that skinny. Say
Okay. Like
medium.
medium.
Like
Okay.
skinny side. But actually, you know what piece of clothing I really love wearing? I love a white button down.
Yes, I feel like you can't go wrong.
Love
Crisp,
a white button down.
white, that
Yeah.
blazer, and like you can wear it with shorts or jeans of any, and like you will always heels, dress up, dress down. I feel like you will always look put together without like if you don't know the setting, I feel like that will always be like a go-to fail safe.
Yeah.
I love that. So, but yeah, so it was like the tie and the shoulder pads. Were you giving like Katharine Hepburn? Was that like your inspiration? Katharine Hepburn, 1980s Yves Saint Laurent.
Definitely 1980s Yves Saint Laurent. I like a really powerful look. I don't know.
I love it. I wouldn't know. I see. I couldn't pull it off though. I was
I
like,
think it's good.
I really don't. Like, I feel like you have to have a certain personality. See, like when you look at the Yves Saint Laurent models from like 1980s, they just had that boom, like bam, in your face. I'm very like passive. I'm like, I don't give off that very like, yes, I'm here. I'm like, I mean, yes, I do it in color, but not in like, I'm very more like mellow. I
Yeah.
feel like you have to have like a certain energy, like a very like I'm here, and I'm just like.
Yeah. I think my hair forces me to have that energy because it's just like already so big and like people are gonna notice it, but I'm like, we
Yeah,
gotta
beautiful hair though. See, I
fit.
straighten mine, but like mine is like curly naturally, but I just straighten mine. But it's pretty.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's hard to get curly, if anyone out there knows, it's hard to get curly hair to not look thirsty. That is like literally like that's like a magician act.
And you know what I realized? I've recently started, not recently, maybe like in the past year or so, been consistently wearing a bonnet. Whereas before
Okay.
I was not wearing a bonnet because I was like, oh, I don't want to put this thing on
Yeah,
my head.
that's how I feel. I'm like I can't do a bonnet. Like I'm not there yet in my life.
I don't know if you can tell because of the blurring, but like these layers used to
Yeah.
just be so short. Like it would look like I had a shelf in the back of my head.
No.
And the bottom would be so long and I could not figure out what was going on. And then I looked at my hair recently and I was like, wait, it's growing long and like it's all kind of even.
Yeah.
It's the bonnet.
Bonnet.
Mhm.
You don't think just a silk pillowcase will work? Because that's what I do. But
I also was doing that, but I think they're kind of uncomfortable. Why is my head slipping and sliding?
this is true.
I don't
This
like them.
is true, but I just the bonnet thing. I just feel like, oh God, I feel like Mother Goose.
Yeah, I
I,
understand.
I can't. But
It's not a cute look.
it's not a cute look, but the results speak for themselves. I mean, it would make me consider re-wearing a bonnet. Like
Yeah,
if
and it makes my
the
hair like actually it stops my hair from getting dry.
Yeah, because if anyone knows out there, curly hair is the worst. You can put so many products on, because like I use like Weed Ad, but if I go to sleep and like even the pillowcase sometimes like same thing. Like the ends can be like bunched up and then
Yeah.
like the longer layers are long and it looks like, oh well, why didn't she cut her hair? It's like it's not that.
Yeah.
It's just the short layers look dry. It's
Yeah.
how I sleep. You had a fundraiser recently for Sudan, which what you mentioned earlier, which was in April, which seems so much longer. So, typically associating with anything political can be seen as, ostracizing or polarizing. But why was it important to you to support to support Sudan, and you still support Sudan even on your social media channel. So why do you think it is so important to do so? And most people would be afraid to support any political cause, especially when you are in corporate America. So why
Yeah.
do you think it's such a necessity?
Yeah, and we were worried about it when we were first starting. We were worried that, people wouldn't want to show up or vendors wouldn't want to work with us or we weren't going to be able to find event space. But so the event Harakat was a fundraiser for Sudan and Palestine. And the reason that we chose to do it that way was because we just felt like if we are going to use the images and the music and the food and just like the identity of these places, it would not make sense to not acknowledge what's happening there right now, For us to like sit here and celebrate this culture and not acknowledge that there are people of that culture who are suffering just felt too callous, too, you know, turning a blind eye for us. And also that's Sudan is where I'm from. Like I it'd be hard for me to not do something where I'm supporting my people back home, and the victims of war. And I think the two struggles are intertwined, and I have so many Palestinian friends that, just it wouldn't make sense for us to not try and give back in some way.
I love that. And but I mean, it shouldn't be discounted. It's still very brave, especially in these very unique times. And
Yeah.
so I commend you. What are some of the most rewarding parts of your job, the entrepreneurial side as well as the corporate side, where being a designer?
Yeah. I mean, it's so powerful to be a designer at one of these major companies because the thing that you make can go into the vehicles of hundreds of thousands of people, which is really incredible. And you can get so much feedback in real time. Like it's insane to see the thing that you worked so hard on out in the real world.
I feel like it's
Um,
like a hair flip moment. Like I feel like if you would just stop somebody like driving and be like, "Oh my gosh, do you like this feature?" Hair flip. I have to
no,
find
I
it.
can't wait. I only joined in January, so it's still too new for things to be out there just yet. Give it a few releases, and I think
Okay.
I see some of my work, but like I am like shaking for that moment, like when people get that. And there's some really, really cool things that are coming down the pipeline that aren't your, regular everyday features that I'm extra excited about because Rivian's really good about doing cool things like that. Yeah, so that's probably the most rewarding part about it. And also just getting paid to do the thing that you love is like
Most rewarding. And on
never.
two folds, like your art, the entrepreneurial side. So it's like double, it's like a double yay.
Yeah, but Harakat like really filled me with so much joy to see so many people come out and in real time enjoy the thing that we've spent months basically putting together. And then people asking for another one and going, when's the next one? When's the next one? I mean, people still to this day are reaching out and looking forward and like pitching different cities and like bring it to Detroit and bring it to Oakland and bring it to New York. So that's pretty incredible.
That's amazing. That's another hair flip moment. So and then the last and most fun question, what is your favorite way to unwind?
Oof, I'm not the best about actually unwinding. If I'm being honest. I
Okay.
feel like everything I do, I'm like, okay, there's value in this. Like I can make this productive in some way. But I think the best way for me to unwind is to spend time with my friends and family. Yeah.
Okay. Do you read books or do you have any favorite books?
I am reading books. Ooh, what's my favorite book? Okay, I really like classical literature, like which is such a boring answer, I feel like all that stuff they made you read in high school. Um, I really loved The Picture of Dorian Gray, but I
Okay.
really, really loved Frankenstein.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a classic. That's a good one. See, my favorite is The Count of Monte Cristo. That I reread it once a year. Alexander Dumas is like my favorite classic author, hands down.
Uh,
So, yeah, but I would say contemporary, it would have to be Philippa Gregory because she does historical fiction, Plantagenet era, which is like my favorite time period in history. And like, I can reread her books like over and over again.
Oh, I love that. I do need to get more into contemporary fiction. That's
Yeah,
something that I
it's
want
good.
to do. Otherwise, I love to read like a not I won't even say read because it's like an audiobook. I love to listen to like a nonsense like romance book.
Okay.
I'm always doing both. Like right now, I'm reading Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, which I hate, by the way, but I'm forcing myself to finish it.
Okay.
Same time I'm doing like a Spotify audiobook. I'm not even gonna tell you the title because I'm embarrassed.
Okay, that's fine. But you just listen to it, the audio.
Yeah, but I'll just listen to it on my commute if I'm not in the mood to like actually read. But yeah, just like
Oh, smart. I can't audiobooks put me straight to sleep. Like I don't know what it is. I can
yeah.
listen to music and I'll stay awake, but something about audiobooks doesn't matter. Like I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm really sleepy and then I'm knocked out.
I gotta be honest, am I fully paying attention? No, but it's like one of those nonsense books. You know, the
Yeah,
books that
you can skip like 30 chapters and then by the 10, it's
yeah,
almost like a soap opera where it's like
yeah,
you can come back 3 years later and figure out by the end of the episode
yeah.
what you missed in those
Hey
3 years.
girl, there's still gonna be enemies to lovers, okay?
Exactly.
Anything. It's fine.
Exactly. So thank you.